we need to get to the elephant in this room that we've been kind of dancing around here, and that is the CM Punk of it all. Now, just coming into this recording, which is Wednesday night, Thursday morning, there has been so much shit with CM Punk today. It's been insane.
So tired. So tired.
Fightful has put out 2 stories recently, and this all kind of started with Punk isn't officially announced for Collision. Now, a lot of people have been speculating he's going to be there, and this is all going to be built around him. And people think that the first show is going to be in Chicago, but again, that hasn't been officially announced yet. But Punk hasn't been on any of the Warner Brothers Discovery promotional materials. And he was initially reportedly on the press release, but then later press releases had removed his name. So everyone's a little concerned now of his status in AEW. And then a report from Fightful Select came out that there was a meeting with Punk and Chris Jericho where the possibility of Ace Steel, yes, that Ace Steel with the teeth and the biting, the possibility that he could be rehired by AEW to work with Punk. And reportedly, Jericho brought this up as a show of good faith in terms of trying to work together with Punk and get this done. But the caveat was that Ace Steel would not be allowed to attend any AEW television. According to Fightful, Punk was, quote, not in agreement with it, unquote. So according to them, plans haven't changed for Punk. But again, this has all led to a bunch of speculation that things aren't copacetic and he might not show up. Now, James, obviously, I think CM Punk being the headliner for the show was kind of the point. I mean, we all kind of think the point of the show was that to get Punk away from the Elite and then get Punk's guys away from the Elite and anybody who might be backing him over the Elite after Brawl Out, just maybe separate everybody and just calm things down. That appears to have dialed back recently, but in terms of both, the divisions in the locker room and the divisions between Punk and the Elite, but it seems difficult to me to have Collision start without your headliner, or at least who was supposed to be your headliner, to draw in the casual audience in CM Punk. Because despite what you may think of him, he is one of, if not the biggest draw in wrestling.
It's undeniable how big a draw he is. Although I think it is fair to say his stock has dropped a little bit over the last few months. All that said, you got to remember, again, going back to Rampage, they sold out. Was it the first or second Rampage?
Oh God, I want to say it was the second because I feel like we didn't cover the first one.
Yeah, they sold out Rampage on the idea that maybe Punk was showing up.
Yeah, and I think that was Allstate Arena. So
yes,
big, not smaller. It wasn't not United Center, but still a good,
lots of fans in that building.
Yep.
And they did that on the rumor that he was coming. Next week, Tony Khan is making another big announcement. He's announcing where the first Collision is going to be. And we're all pretty much under the assumption Collision is going to be in Chicago.
Allegedly. Now, I saw a rumor that it might even be the United Center, which is where the Bulls and the I don't know if the Blackhawks play there. No, the Blackhawks play there. That's a huge arena compared to like Allstate and stuff like that.
So I think with the announcement of Chicago, we're building towards that Rampage moment again. That we don't need to say Punk is coming. He just will be. And supposedly that was one of the big things for Punk too. He doesn't want his return announced.
Right. So that was part of the speculation of why he might have been taken off the promotional material, because he wants it to be a surprise, or a very heavy-handed surprise, but a surprise nonetheless.
So yeah, I really want to believe that Punk and the Elite are all big enough that they could just move past this. You know, I want to believe that Punk and the Elite are adults and mature and healthy enough to say, look, mistakes were made, bad things happened that night, but let's all make a lot of money and let's all move past this. Let's see if that happens. I think we didn't get to talk about this yet, but the Elite did cut, well, Kenny cut a promo after Dynamite tonight, or a couple nights ago.
Last night.
Watched it last night. And he dropped a lot of buzzwords, stuff that Punk has said, Punk stuff that has been described about Punk. And bitter rivals, sitting down at a table, hashing things out. These were all very familiar words if you were paying attention, all very familiar phrases if you were paying attention. So at least on Kenny's terms, it seems that maybe it would be possible to work with Punk. Why else would that promo have gotten greenlit if not there was something in the pipeline? I don't know. At the end of the day, this is a business. At the end of the day, these are performers, these are people, and I hope that everybody's comfortable and everybody can do what's best for themselves and for this company.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, there's a lot of money in an Elite versus CM Punk feud. If you get FTR involved in there as well, as they've been very vocally supportive of him, you have your 3-on-3 right there. Depending on, spoiler alert for Dynamite last night, what happens with Hangman in terms of that feud. But it's just, he's just driving me nuts. And look, if the entire point was to keep them all apart and to, satisfy him and make things easier for him and them and everybody, and then he's not going to show up, like, what the hell, dude? And look, I still think he's probably going to come back. I don't see why he wouldn't. I'm assuming he's healthy by now, or at least healthy enough to go out and cut some promos and then eventually come back to the ring. But it's just so weird. And
he's coming back. He's coming back. Anything we're hearing at this point is drama to build suspense, drama to build tension.
Well, TNT does no drama. So that is twice I've gotten James put his head in his hands.
I am dead inside.
The other thing about Punk, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because it was such fucking nonsense, but he is going after Alvarez something fierce tonight.
My favorite thing about this stuff, my favorite thing about him going over after Alvarez and Meltzer as much as he does, Alvarez really didn't talk that much shit about Punk in the beginning. I think this is something that has grown because they have gone back and forth at this point. Man, everybody, that just be cool, okay? Let's just be cool.
Well, I saw somebody to try to provide context of, like, apparently this stems back to when Alvarez, like, either had a shoot or worked crush on Maria Kanellis, and then Punk started dating her, and then Alvarez started trashing him in his articles or something.
Jesus.
And like, which is ridiculous. But the weird thing is, it seems like Punk is trashing Alvarez for the news that came out concerning all of this Collision stuff. And it wasn't even Alvarez that put it out.
Yep.
And he's like tweeting all this crazy stuff about him or tweeting, actually. No, he's not. He's posting all this crazy stuff about him on his Instagram stories. And I guess people are stalking them now because they're getting them with like 47 seconds into posting it. And he's making jokes about Larry getting hired by AEW and then getting fired by AEW, and that Alvarez is reporting. Like, he's off the rails on this right now. And it's just another one of those things where it's like, we kind of said this about Dax for a while too, with the dude, just shut the fuck up. You're messing up your money. Like, at a certain point, they're gonna get fed up with the bullshit.
Who would have thought that these grown men who perform on TV in tights in what is basically a soap opera would have egos and not really be able to avoid drama?
This is beyond drama. It's like it's directed. He's directly attacking Alvarez, obviously. Well, not physically, but it's just I don't understand because, like I said, you're in a weird spot here where they're going to be fed up with your bullshit at some point. And after you pulled one of the biggest, I don't even know what to call it, disasters, I guess, backstage wrestling has seen in a long time. We're, short of somebody dying. Like, you're lucky that AEW is still willing to work with you.
I mean,
and you're going to just keep, poking and prodding and seeing, testing the fence, Velociraptor style to see where the weak points are. At a certain point, they're gonna, cut ties with you if you keep testing them. And I don't understand why you're risking it at this point, is my point. Because then, like I said, you're fucking up your money.
the reality is he keeps getting away with it. He knows his value and he's pushing that value, even if it's unintentionally. It's like you said, Punk is one of the biggest, most marketable stars in wrestling today. So he's a genuine draw who brings tickets in and brings viewers in. He knows that, and more importantly, he knows that AEW knows that. Unless that changes, unless he does something completely, wow, we cannot come back from this, he's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah. And you know what? This goes back to what I said after Brawl Out. It goes back to Tony Khan. And if he's not gonna put his foot down and be like, yo, you gotta stop with this bullshit. And I know he's not that type of guy, obviously, but if he's not gonna, be a locker room leader, even though he's not in there, it's his fucking company. He's got to lay at least some ground rules for them. And if he's not going to do that, then people are just going to continue to walk all over him, especially, these big talents, these big stars. They're going to walk all over him, and he's going to end up with another Brawl Out. Or hopefully not. We don't want to see that. That sucks. It sucks for us as fans because we lose some of our favorite wrestlers. We lose this good storylines. Tony loses money. And it's like, we don't want to see that. But if you don't keep some modicum of control, then things go off the rails.
Good work.
Thank you. Read your thesauruses, kids.